Hello and welcome to In the Cool of the Day. We are here to inspire you to live out your God-given dreams by using the gifts stored up inside of you. I am your host, Malika Carey, and today we are conducting God's business God's way. Did you know that it's God's business that we live a joyful life? One of the ways the Holy Spirit does this is by giving us the gift of laughter. Psalms 126:2 says, "Then our mouths will be filled with laughter, and our tongues will shout with joy. Then they said among the nations, the Lord has done great things for them." Laughter is connected to our blessings. I dedicated an entire chapter of And Now That I Know Better to laughter because I realized that in life, you have to find more reasons to laugh than you do to cry. I am delighted to bring to you our special guest who knows a lot about making people laugh. She is an actress who has appeared on several TV shows that have aired on BET, TV One, and Netflix. She is the host of a monthly radio show on Spirit 1340 AM, a Radio 1 station here in the Washington, D.C. area. In addition, this talented young lady is the award-winning founder and president of Laugh More Entertainment, which is responsible for producing the More Laughter Clean Comedy Show here in the Washington, D.C. metro area. She is none other than my good friend, Angela Moore. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Oh my God, I'm so glad to have you here.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
So Angela, I must say first, before I start my questions, I have to thank you so much because when Now That I Know Better first came out, you were the first person to say, "Hey Malika, come on my radio show." So it is an honor to now be able to have you on as a guest on my TV show.
You're so welcome. I'm glad that I could do it.
I'm so glad you're here. So first, tell our guests, who is Angela Moore?
Angela Moore. Well, depending on what language you speak, it's Angela, Espanol. I'm sorry, I just had to put that in there. Angela Moore is a person who's very creative. I am the founder and CEO of More Laughter Entertainment.
Okay.
And I do comedy, as you said, and acting, and oh my gosh, I just do so many things. I bling my clothes, as you can tell, just so many things. I'm very creative. My mind is always racing, and that's it.
Right, so God is bringing out your gifts now, right?
Yes, He is. And I used to have a prayer that said, "God, please allow me to make a living off of my gifts."
And so we know that when you start using your gifts, then the money starts to chase you instead of you chasing the money, right?
Well, right now, the money ain't chasing me yet. I don't even know if it's got directions.
It's still funny, right?
It's still real funny.
But don't despise small beginnings, because they who are faithful over little do become rulers over much, right?
Yes.
So we all have to start somewhere.
Yes.
Right. So how did you get into show business?
Wow. I really feel like this is what I was called to do. Because when I was a little girl, I used to be really fascinated with being on the microphone. And I would always look for opportunities to get on a microphone. I remember asking my pastor when I was a kid, because I went to one of them churches that you had church all week, all day, from the sun up to sundown. So in between services, I was in elementary school, maybe around first or second grade. I was like, "Can I get on the microphone?" And so he let me get on the microphone, and I sung something, I don't know, in the key of Q, quit, because I can't sing. And I just, I proceeded in trying to sing, and then I've just always had this fascination with microphones. And growing up, I used to listen to Donnie Simpson a lot. I mean, he's definitely someone I admire, especially in radio. And I just always had dreams of being on television and being on a microphone and making a living off of it. And so all throughout my life, I've done things like I was in the marching band in college at Norfolk State University. Go Spartans, behold. And so I did that. And then also in high school, I was blessed to be a part of the Marion Barry Summer Youth Program when I was a teenager, and it was working as part of a theater group.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's always been in my blood.
For you, right?
Yeah, and I did it in high school, drama in high school and in college, and still doing it now.
And that's awesome. I really feel you on that story, because I too, as a little child, had big dreams of microphones, and I couldn't sing. Oh no, I will tell you that story at a later date on how I tried out 3 times for our high school musicals, which were huge.
Oh wow.
They were huge. We did Gods and Dolls, we did Grease, we did The Wiz.
Wow.
And I could never make it past that first audition. But how, isn't it something we don't give up on our dreams and we keep pursuing them?
Yes. Yeah.
So you didn't let that fact that you couldn't sing stop you.
No.
And you found another way to use the microphone.
Right.
Because we still have voice, even though we can't sing.
That's true.
We still have voice.
True.
Right.
One day I'll be able to sing.
One day. Right. They say we all can sing, and the angels rejoice when I sing. Everybody else might close their ears.
I think the angels cry when I sing.
So tell me something. So before you went into show business, you had a 9 to 5.
I did.
Right. So what was that like, doing the 9 to 5? Did you ever get bored?
Very much so. It was miserable. It was very miserable. It didn't end well. Let's just say that. And it was very hard because I'm a creative person, and so sitting behind a cubicle felt like being in jail, I think, for me on a daily basis. And, I would be at work and be constantly like, all these ideas would come to my mind, but I'm up here like writing memorandums and, I'm just like, this is just not working out. And I mean, I went through periods where I would be sitting at my desk crying puddles. I don't know if you're aware, but I actually have a river named after me. That's how many puddles I used to cry sitting at the cubicle.
What's the name of the river?
It's called Angela River.
Where is it?
Somewhere in D.C.
It's the puddles. But I think what was happening was you knew that you were bigger than that moment, that you weren't living out your purpose. Because now how freeing is it now that you control your own destiny, even though the money is not there? Let's clarify. The money is not there yet. It's coming. But what's that transition like? Because if somebody's going to step out on their dreams, pursue their goals, what should they have that expectation? Because I thought, now that I know better, should be a New York Times bestseller by now, and I should be a millionaire, but that hasn't happened yet. So we're taking these small steps towards that happening. So what advice would you give to our viewer who wants to pursue their dream? They're in that 9 to 5, crying rivers and ponds around their desk because they really feel they're bigger than their purpose and their destiny. I mean, their purpose and destiny is bigger than that cubicle they're sitting in right there. What piece of advice would you give them?
Wow, for me, it was definitely stepping out on faith and trusting God. It was a big challenge. I would say if you think it's going to happen, they always tell you to save for the rainy day, but I never knew what to do once that rainy day came, because the rainy day came and it went from a rainy day to a drought, okay? So it was very challenging because I went from a 5-figure income to 4 figures.
4 figures.
Yes.
Right.
People talk about the poverty line. I couldn't even see it, okay?
See, and it happens, but you keep going forward. Did you quit and go back to another 9 to 5?
No, I can't. I can't do that. I can't do it. I can't do it. But it's definitely a step of faith, and you really have to trust God. It's so many times you think about, I'm going to have to go backwards to where I was before, and it's just, you have to keep going forward and realize that it's all a part of the journey, and you find ways to save your money. I mean, there are many nights that I sleep in my car in between gigs.
Because the hotel fees, right?
Yeah, hotel
right.
fees don't meet the budget.
But speaking of some gigs now, you've been able to pursue some of your dreams and your
Yes.
goals because
Yes.
of that. You
Yes.
stepped out on faith, and now you've performed at some big comedy clubs. Care to name a couple?
Yeah, sure. I've recently performed at the Gotham Comedy Club in New York City. I have performed at the Laugh Factory in Chicago. I have performed at the Madhouse Comedy Club in San Diego, to name a few.
Great, great.
Yes.
So God is opening those doors. And had you been
Yes.
on your 9 to 5, you probably would have had to ask for permission.
Right,
And
right.
maybe not gotten that,
Right.
Received that permission you
Exactly.
needed to
And-
be able to do that.
And
You're
all I need
also-
to do is just ask myself, can you go? Yeah. and
Right.
Go.
And you go. Right. And now you're performing and you have a couple of acting gigs, as we call them, where now we can find you on BET.
Yes.
Right,
Yes.
and then we can find you on Netflix. You were a
Yes.
political drama. We can't say the name,
Right,
but tell us
exactly.
what that's like working on the political drama and not be in a comedic role. Because as a comedian, and you're sometimes playing a more serious
Right.
senator.
Right.
Right.
Well, when you're playing a more dramatic role, you have to go to that dramatic place in your heart. A lot of comedians, we can go there. I mean, we can be extreme in our emotions from like happy high to sad low. So, you just have to kind of think of things in your life that may make you get more serious and more dramatic. But a lot of times what you don't see behind the scenes is that like you may be serious when the camera is rolling, but then all of a sudden when they say cut, you're like acting silly, doing crazy things. And not to mention the food, it's really good.
What's that? The food is good on set. I gotta remember that. Put that in the budget.
Yes.
Right. I remember to put that in the budget. We need food, Tia. We need food. So what's it like now? Because when we come back from our break, we're going to take a break in a few minutes.
Okay.
So when we come back, I want to talk more about now you as the producer, because you get to produce your own comedy shows. And so we're going to talk a lot about that. So I want to tell our guests to stay tuned. We will be right back after a small station break. We don't want you to go anywhere. We want you to come back. We want to laugh more with you. We are going to discuss all of the great things that Angela Moore has going on in her life. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You are watching In the Cool of the Day, where we are talking about God's business and laughter with our special guest, comedian Angela Moore. So Angela, before we left,
Yes.
we were getting ready to discuss you as a producer.
Yes.
And so I want to come back to that and talk about you as a producer, because now you are the captain of your own ship. So please tell us about More Laughter Entertainment.
Okay, well, it's funny. I go to a lot of open mics to hone my craft as a comedian. That's very common. And it was like I was never getting chosen to host or anything. And I used to be like, I want to host my own show. I want to do it. And so one night, there was some guys who have a show that saw me at another show, and they were like, you should come to our show and perform. And so the show I went to perform at ended up being this beautiful venue called Girani Coffee House in Manassas, Virginia. And it was just a wonderful venue, and they were a brand new business at the time. So I host their open mic on every Thursday, but I also was able to work with them in terms of getting comedy shows started at their venue. And so I founded the More Laughter Clean Comedy Show, no cursing, no vulgarity.
Awesome, right? And so you just hosted your anniversary there,
I did.
right?
I can't
How
believe
was
it's
that?
been 1 year.
It's been a year, and it's sold out.
Yes.
It's sold out before the show, right?
People were standing wall to wall.
Right.
It was crazy.
How do you feel? Like my last guest was Teresa, and we always say when people call after she announces it's been sold out, what happened after you announced it was sold out?
Everybody and their grandma and cat and dog were like, can I get a ticket? Is there any way I can stand in the corner? I won't cause no problem. It's just me coming. I'm like, I'm sorry, it is sold out.
It's a fire hazard.
No mass tickets, no mass boletos. You know, I don't know how many languages I got to put it in. There is no more. No mass, okay?
Right. So the lesson here would be,
get your tickets early. And you know, when I was posting things on social media, I said, get your tickets now while they last, because this will sell out. And sure enough, it sold out.
Right.
Nobody believed me, but it was like people standing wall to wall. It was very incredible, and I'm just so thankful. We had a great time.
Right, and I like the fact that it's clean comedy, meaning,
yes.
So it's along the lines of like like Sinbad.
Right. Yes, like Sinbad.
Like Sinbad, right.
Right.
Okay, so, or Mark Curry, you know, there's a lot of clean Christian, or even if they're not Christian, there are a lot of clean comics out.
Yeah.
Because a true comedian can make you laugh whether they use a curse word or not.
That's
right?
true. That's
right.
very true.
Because comedians are just naturally funny people.
Right.
Right. So you just sit here and just make up a joke.
Right.
Right. Okay, so later on, you know, I'm going to put you on the spot to tell us a joke. Right. I don't have an audience yet. I'm just starting out here. Right. Work with me, but
yes,
I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
I promise I'll laugh for everybody that would have filled the room. So I also want to talk about, so being that you produce your own shows.
It's a lot of
right,
work.
it's a lot of work that goes on behind the scene that people don't know. But production also means that if you're the producer, you're also the one that's got to bankroll this.
Everything.
So how do you come up with, so you've got to do the printing of your flyers and everything. So it's a funny story. So
yeah, I mean, even doing my first show was a step of faith, because literally I had no money whatsoever. And I just negotiated with the comedians like, look, I want to pay you, but I can't afford you according to what you're worth. Can we work something out? And, you know, I'm thankful that all the comedians were able to, you know, work with me, because I literally had nothing. And I was like, God, if I don't sell any tickets, I got to be able to come out of my own pocket to pay these people. So that was a step of faith. So now as a producer, I'm the one who's in charge of putting together the music playlist, putting together the bios of all the comedians. I book the comedians. I plan the program. I set up the tickets, as you were mentioning about. Yes, I do homemade tickets, homemade flyers, fresh, colorful ink, delicious.
But you do such an awesome job. You're your own graphic artist.
I am. I didn't know I had that talent.
You're your own script writer.
Yes, yes. I have to handle, because I do comedy as well. That's part of the reason why I came up with it, because I wanted to have some stage time as well. And so we sell tickets, and every show has been sold out except for one.
Okay, so that goes to show that God was really in the midst. So when you live out your purpose and you live out your dreams, eventually doors start to fly open to allow you to be able to live out your purpose and your dream.
Right.
And what would you say the price value of that is? If you had to put a price value on that, just that experience alone of being able to be in control of your destiny.
Wow, I would say it's a price value, and it's also a big class, like lesson. It's a big lesson. Like, it's so educational to go through the process of trying to put together a show, working out with the venue. I mean, it's so many aspects that go into it. It's hard to put a price. I mean, it's definitely a higher price than what I'm actually making right now.
Okay, but like we said, the best is yet to come.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so now you've at a position that you know better.
Right.
You know
Yes,
better.
I
about
know
how
better.
You know better.
See, that book was off the chain. If you haven't read it, you gotta read it, y'all. Yes. Now that I know better.
Right. So it makes it easier. So going forward from next year, you've got now streamlines and processes.
Right.
And you know how to do it.
Right.
So your next comedy show is a little bit easier to do than the last comedy show.
Because I'm building a following, so that helps out a lot. And then a lot of the times, the funds that any profit that I make from the show, it goes back into the business. It doesn't, like they say in business, when you have your own business, a lot of times the owner is the last to get paid, and that is, but so true.
It is. But we'll have to learn how to pay ourselves.
Yes.
Right.
Well,
a tithe, pay ourselves, pay the staff.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And we're learning that in the budget process of building our own empires.
Right.
Right. So tell me something else. So where do we go from here? Because now you do have to earn some type of living. So are your T-shirts, how do we sell those at the end of the show, or?
Well, yes. We started selling them at the end of the anniversary show.
Oh, awesome.
Yes,
Awesome.
yes.
That is awesome. And so you're gonna have to show us your other line that you do. So you do your own clothing line. And so I want you to get real comfortable and show our audience your footwear, because I'm telling you, I'm gonna order a pair of these sneakers, because all the sisters that love bling.
You like bling? I did
love
these
bling
by hand, and my bling jeans.
And she does
gotta
have bling
cover
jeans.
up my ashy feet though.
Somebody get the child some lotion. Right.
But yeah, I
Or
did
the
my
show.
own bling jeans and my own bling shoes. So yes, I'm blessed. Like I said, you asked me who Angela Moore is, and Angela Moore is definitely a creative person where her mind is always going. So yes.
Great. And I understand that God will pull out all the gifts in you,
Right.
like all your talents. So do you ever wake up in the middle of the night with a joke or a funny story to tell, or?
Yeah, and then I get mad. I'm like, can I put my foot back?
You can
Okay,
put your foot
come on,
back. I'm
foot.
sorry.
You go
Foot
back under the
your
desk.
chest, right. Sorry about that. I just wanted everybody to see.
Yeah, I hope you saw it. And check out my website, and you might be able to get in contact with me that way for your order. But
We'll go through that in a minute. We're
Right,
going to go
right.
through that, how people can get in contact with you. But tell me, how do you handle those moments when God wakes you up in the middle of the night?
I get upset because I'm like, Lord, you know I don't get that much sleep as it is. Why you got to get this to me? Because it's like sometimes I think of like the best stories, the best jokes, and it's just like I'm sleeping. And I mean, I probably get like 4 or 5 hours of sleep every night as it is, just because I'm just kind of like, I'm busy, and it's hard for me to settle down a lot of times because I'm kind of hyper, I guess.
Okay, do you roll over and write them down, or do you be like, Lord, please let me remember this dream in the
Let's
morning?
just say I be like, please help me to remember this. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't.
Okay, so now we're getting to that point where I want you to tell me a joke.
You want me to tell you a joke?
A real one, right? Like just 30 seconds, a minute, just give the people something really funny that they can laugh at. They're sitting at home on their couch, they're flipping through the stations, and then they get to us because they were on their way to somewhere else, and then they sit there and then they find us. And so they're sitting there and they're like, we caught their eye, they've watched the show, now give them something to laugh about. Because somebody that's weary, if they get a moment to laugh, it breaks that weariness.
That's true.
I know what laughter is about. I'm telling you, I wrote a whole chapter on it. Laughter is better than crying, and laugh more than you cry. And so I know that there's somebody at home right now that needs to laugh. And so I'm asking you to give them just a funny moment, or tell a funny story. It doesn't even have to be a joke, but just tell us a funny story and let them laugh a little bit.
Okay, well, I'll just tell you a little bit about myself. I don't have any children. I borrow other people's children.
Good, I got two.
I'm sorry, the list is full till 2020. So you're gonna have to wait. But anyway, I was borrowing some children one day, and I was kind of questioning myself, like, who am I? Like, what do I look like? I don't know how to describe myself. And so I did the next best thing and asked this little kid, what is your thought? And she said, you look like milk chocolate with almond on the side.
Oh, wow.
I think she was talking about my eyes because people say my eyes kind of look almond, so maybe that's why. But anyway, we were in a discussion. I was in a discussion with that little girl and her brother, and we got on the topic about chicken pox, chicken pox. And so the question came up, do people still get the chicken pox? And I was like, yes. And the other sibling was like, yes, people still get the chicken pox because my friend had the chicken pox. And so the question was asked, well, how do people get the chicken pox? Well, the answer is, do you want to know?
Yes.
By eating too much chicken and popcorn.
Oh, wow. Wow. That, right. From the mouths of babes.
From the mouths of babes. They give me the best material, man. Oh, my goodness.
So I want to thank you so much for coming on our show, Angie.
Thank you.
It has been wonderful. Real quick, tell our guests how they can find you.
Sure. You can find me. I'm on the web, www.morelaughter, and that's all one word with two O's, morelaughter.com. And I'm on Twitter at morelaughter, and again, that's with two O's. And I'm on Instagram. I post on Instagram, and I'm at morelaughter247 on Instagram. And I'm always looking to pick up more followers, more likes on my Facebook page. So you can find me on Facebook. My like page is morelaughter-Angela Moore. Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in. We hope this show has inspired you to laugh more than you cry and never stop pursuing your dreams. Know this, when you seek first the kingdom of God, all these desires, when you pray, shall come to pass. I am your host, Malika Carey. And before I go, I would like to remind you to strive to know more about life and how to improve it. Because when you know better, you can definitely do better and have better. To know more about what I am up to, you can follow me on Facebook under Now That I Know Better and Malika Star with 2 A's. I am also on Instagram as Malika Star 2. It has always been my prayer that God blesses you abundantly. Have a good night, because when you know better, you can do better.